Hi, and welcome back into day 4. So as I mentioned on day 1, the ultimate tool for prioritization is the ability to be present. If we are in any way distracted by something that's happened in the past or speculating about something that could, might, possibly happen in the future, then it's going to be very difficult to be present. And it's not just about the ability to focus on this right now. It's also about sort of having a sense of clarity. When we're caught up in thinking, doesn't matter whether it's the past, the future, our everyday sort of to-do list, shopping list that sort of float around the mind. If we're caught up in that stuff, then we don't have any sense of clarity. Until we learn to step out of that and actually be more present with the task at hand, there'll always be a sense of confusion. Even if we have a very clear list on the table in front of us, we still will have a sense of confusion in the mind. So it's really important. That's really what we're training in this exercise, just learning to step out of that everyday thinking, to have a greater sense of calm, clarity, and composure in the mind. With that in mind, make sure that you're comfortable, that the eyes are open. There's a nice soft focus. And then when you're ready, just starting with some big deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with this out breath, as you sink down into the seat beneath you, just closing the eyes, feeling the weight of the body press down, just settling into that position, that posture, beginning to notice the space around you, and in particular, any sounds. And just checking in with the body now. So noticing how it feels right now, not how it has been feeling, not thinking about it, but just noticing how it actually feels in this moment. As you scan down from head to toe. And just allowing the attention now to naturally shift towards the breath, a rising and falling movement. Remember, if you can't feel that sensation, just gently placing your hand on your stomach. And just resting the attention on that movement. So just noticing the breath in a little more detail now. Noticing when the breaths are deep, noticing when they're shallow. Just following that natural rhythm of breath. And as you continue to follow that breath, just help maintain that focus. Just as we did yesterday, just counting up to 6 each time. So 3 complete breaths. When you get to 6, letting it go and gently coming back to 1 again. Just continuing in that way on your own now. So just noticing when we got caught up in thinking, when the mind has wandered off. In that moment, there's nothing to do. We don't need to think about it. Just acknowledge it, we let it go, and just come back to that feeling. Our attention just resting on that rising and falling sensation of the breath. And as you take a moment to pause, just letting go of any focus on the breath. For a moment, just allowing the mind to do whatever it wants to do. And just bringing the attention back to the body now. Just coming back to that feeling of contact, that feeling of weight. Just starting to notice the space around you, the sounds, the smells. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. As always, just pausing for a moment to notice how it feels and to notice how that's different than when you first sat down today. And as you go into your day, perhaps right now, moving on to your task of prioritization, it sounds really obvious, but it's surprising how many people don't necessarily make use of the tools that are out there. There are so many different ways of prioritizing what you need to do. And of course, lots of people will want to sort of use apps, things like that. I personally feel that as good as all those things are, it kind of increases the risk of distraction and confusion. Every time you go to your phone or every time you go to your laptop, there is the risk of getting caught up in other chatter. There is something so simple, so straightforward, and so many people I know who are really busy and very good at prioritization still have a piece of paper in front of them. There's no chance, there's no risk of getting caught up in anything. So just making sure that you have that written out, planned out, that it's unambiguous, and that there's no risk of getting caught up in any distraction. I'll see you back here tomorrow for day 5.